Salute everyone. Welcome to the Real Buzz. Knicks Real Talk in affiliation with the Streets of Buzzing. We here, man, to bring you some Knick content, some NBA content today, man. We're gonna break down the Sixers recap today. We're gonna get into the Milwaukee game. We're gonna get into the stats, the schedule, the NBA, the standards, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in, man, to the channel, like and subscribe. And the Streets of Buzzing, Knicks Real Talk, man. We in here, man. We just gonna get into it today, man. So let's go, man. What's up, CT?
Hey, salute Divine, salute everybody. Looking forward to chopping this up, and the season continues. It gets crazier as we go. So I'm ready.
Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, we're gonna get into it right now, man. So salute to everybody, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to the Streets of Butler Knicks Real Talk, and get this content that we delivering to the people, man. So, without further ado, let's talk about it, man. We had a game the other day in the city of brotherly love against the 76ers. Knicks went down to Philadelphia, played a real competitive game, won the game, and came out on top. Gave us a win, a W in the win column, which we needed after taking that loss prior game. So, now we back, man. We got a game coming up against Milwaukee, but we're gonna get into the Sixers, man. And obviously CT, no Joel Embiid, no Tobias Harris, no Mitchell Robinson was there. And Noel was sore, banged up a little bit. He didn't play the second half of the game. So, but the Knicks found a way to win the game. Grinded out, defense played well. It was great to see that. Julius Randle had a monster game, CT, and emergence of Manuel quickly started to get into his groove. So it was all good team effort, good team win. I was happy with what I seen out there because they had more effort this time. Defense let them score under 100, did not let them score over 100. So that was real good to see. Overall, this was all a good team win. You play who in front of you. You can't worry about who's not there, who is there. When you get on the floor, you got to win the game no matter who's there. I think we did a good job of that in Philadelphia to get that W.
Yeah, absolutely, Divine. It was much needed win. Obviously, coming off that bad loss the night before to Cleveland, you take the win any way you can. Doesn't matter who was missing. It was an away game. Our record continues to be good on the road. It took a little bit longer for us to take control of the game than what we would have liked to see. But at the end of the day, Julius Randle, great performance, like you said, handled his business in the fourth. Emmanuel quickly starting to show signs of quickly from last season as well. And yeah, you just take the win any way you can. They had some scrappy players, their reserves line up, some talented players there. They gave us the business, all that they had. They obviously didn't want to lose their winning streak. So I was expecting a tough matchup. And it's just great to show that fight, get that W, and look ahead. Obviously, the Nerlens Noel thing is something that bears watching. Hyperextended his knee, has a knee strain. Is questionable for the next game. So let's see. But Nerlens Noel's impact's really important to this team, Divine.
Yeah, absolutely. We need Nerlens CT. He's our backup center there. And he's been playing good too, man. For him to not play the whole preseason, the start of the regular season until he finally got in a couple of games ago, he showed some energy, some activity. Playing good on the defense and got a little bit of offense scoring down there. So to have him to come back when Mitch, we know Mitch is not totally 100% back. Cardio wise, stamina wise. Being out the whole preseason, just got thrown into the thrust because Dolan was out. Mitch probably wasn't even ready to come back, but because we were so depleted at the center spot that he just came on in the first game of the season. Been playing ever since. But he even came, and at that game he came down with a hip flex, hip point or whatever. So he's questionable day to day, whatever the case may be. But Nerlens Noel played a good game for us, man. Hopefully he can come back. If him and Mitch don't play in the upcoming game against Milwaukee, which we'll break that down and preview it pretty soon. We just gotta hope that next man up. Hope Todd Gibson and Jericho Sims and maybe a little bit of Obi and Randall at the 4 or 5, whatever the case may be, can lead us to victory against Milwaukee. Milwaukee got the Giannis Antetokounmpo there, so it's gonna be tough for us. But I think overall, I was happy with the game in Philly. We won the game, moved up to 7-4. And it was good to see that we had some resiliency and bounced back and got that W. I think that was so important.
Yeah, considering we didn't shoot very well as well, Divine, some struggles on that end of the floor, shooting the ball to get away with the win. It was massive, I think, for this team. like you said, 7-4. It erases the loss from the night before, the disappointment to losing to Cleveland on their home floor. So we now have, the most important thing is we have 2 out of 2 against Philly. So we know that can come back and play a part later in the season, especially with the tiebreaker, the Atlantic Division rivals as well. So that's key. We lost 15 straight against Philadelphia. To say we've now won the last 2 against them could be great for the psyche.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That was long overdue. Philly had our number for the last 4 years, man. But it's a new day and the dawn of a new day in New York, man. So we just got to keep building this thing and take our challenges, and just go out there and play who in front of you, like I said. And Philly is a formidable team, but we beat them with Joel Embiid, without Joel Embiid. So we can't, Nick fan and the people can't say that we beat them because Joel Embiid wasn't there, but we beat them when Joel Embiid was there. You know what I mean? So, obviously, like I said, you play who in front of you, but, I agree with you 100%. It's real important that we win these games against these Eastern Conference divisional foes, especially our divisional foes, because, you never know how that thing might shape out at the end of the year. We could be, if everything fall right, we play well and we keep winning, we could be right there in that 1 and 2 spot. You never know. I mean, it just that it's so competitive in the Eastern Conference right now that, we got to just take care of our business, let them guys knock each other off, and we take care of our business. I think we might bow well. So we got to watch out for Philly. But we went there and won that game. That was real important. And like I said, now it's time to move on to Milwaukee. You know what I mean? And Milwaukee coming up. We just played Milwaukee the game before that. Before the Cleveland game, we went down to Milwaukee, had a great game in Milwaukee. Julius Randle had a monster game against Giannis, 32 points. The team played great defense. It seemed like we was getting back. We was about to get into that. That was a real important win for the franchise. But then we come out against Cleveland, we laid the egg. But now that we got Milwaukee again at the world most famous arena tomorrow night, 7:30, and them coming off a game tonight against Philly, so we get them on a back-to-back. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can go in here and in the game tomorrow night and just play some great defense and all that. And then we know, then I'll break down the numbers in a minute, but we really need to go get that game tomorrow again as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on how important this is, especially with the schedule coming up. But I think psychologically, it's great that the fact that we were able to beat Milwaukee very, very recently, come from behind win. We now play them on our home floor. It's looking like Chris Middleton will be out again through the health and safety protocols as well. We know Milwaukee won today as we're recording this video, so they beat Philadelphia. They beat Philadelphia 118-109. Giannis is back, is in form, so it's going to be a big task tomorrow. Let's hope Nerlens Noel is healthy. Nerlens Noel is questionable at the moment, along with Mitchell Robinson, so that's going to play a huge factor in that. Taj Gibson will definitely be called upon, Divine, if our centers can't take the court.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing about it, he's Taj Gibson, man. He's always ready. He's always ready, man. He's a savvy NBA veteran who's been around the game a long time, know and understand the NBA. He knows the spot he in. He knows the situation, and that's good to have a guy like that, a veteran who knows that. Yeah, I could be playing minutes every day, but because the team asked me to do certain things and I accepted it. You're not going to have that disgruntled type of guy when it comes to Todd Gibson. He's a savvy veteran, respectful guy. He understands what Tibbs trying to do. He know that Nerlens Noel and Mitchell Robinson are them centers right now. But he know that when his number's called, he answers the bell. Now you can't help but appreciate a savvy veteran like that, man, who respects the game and understands the game and know that he had his time with these other guys, the younger guys' time to shine, and he respects that. You know what I mean? And it's good to have a guy like that. Then you got the young rookie coming in there at the 58th pick, and Jericho Sims. Hopefully he can give us some scrappy minutes there. Just to put some pressure on their team. You know what I mean? He's a body. He's a young body, athletic, energy. And, that's one of the things that we want to bring to the table anyway is our energy. So to have Sims maybe get that chance and not like CT, we can go small ball 5 with Randall and top and whatever the case may be. So we just got to go in there no matter who, like no matter what's the situation. I think we got to go in there and go hard and try to win this game to get us to 8-4. and put us in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference. Depending on how the schedule shake out, we break that down later as well. But real important game for us, CT, tomorrow night. It seems like all these games are important, but I would love to go down to the world most famous arena tomorrow and get Milwaukee and try to get that W against them. And it'd be real nice to see that.
Yeah, another really important aspect to this matchup is the point guard position, Divine. We've seen Derrick Rose have nights where he's been on fire, closing the game out, leading the team. We've seen Kemba Walker miss some games recently, had the rest against Cleveland, came back against Philly, hit a couple key shots at the end of the game there. So what does it bring now? Drew Holiday back in the fold. The last time we played Milwaukee, Drew Holiday was first game back, just getting his feet wet, had a lot of turnovers, helped us out on that night. Is Drew Holiday starting to get more comfortable now? And what does that mean for the Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, matchup? I'd like to see a game where both of them are playing well. It seems like it's been one or the other each time. We need both these guys firing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that will be key tomorrow against somebody like Drew Holiday, who's a great defender. I mean, he's the creme de la creme when it comes to defending. And, so it's going to be a tough task for Kemba Walker, but I know Kemba Walker's up to the challenge. He's been in the league 10 years. He done played Drew Holiday since Drew Holiday been in the league. So I don't think nothing he do is new to him. But you're right, though, CT. I would love to see Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker both have a good game at the same, that same game. And I think they do that, man. And it just makes it easier for us. But in that Milwaukee game, we just got to go there and play some defense. We third in association of scoring points. That's not a problem right now for us. It's really the defense. So we just got to find a way to make it hard on Antetokounmpo. You're not going to stop him, but make it hard like we do all the other superstars to slow him down. We did it to Jason Tatum. We did it to Joel Embiid. The game we played them. Giannis didn't have a supreme game against us the other day. So we got to take the when we played Chicago. They all scored 20-something points, but it was really at the end of the game when they had that little 12-0 run. But we played good defense to get them the whole game. So we just got to go in and take their best player and make it hard for them, and hopefully let the other guys try to beat us. And I think if we could do that tomorrow, control them, but you can't stop. Like I said, control them. And I think we got a good chance of really coming out of that thing tomorrow victorious, man. I think this team is finally going to hit their stride sooner or later, like all the NBA teams for that matter. It's still early in the season. It's only 11 games. So every NBA team, they still trying to figure themselves out and get the continuity and the chemistry and get all that stuff together. But I think by the next 5-6 games, you might see all that coming to fruition. And we just want to be one of the teams that gelling at the right time as well. But I think it'll be a good test tomorrow against Milwaukee again for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Divine, if you notice, the bad losses we've had have come at home as well, against lesser opponents. So outside of the Boston opening night game, this is probably the only other game at MSG where it's against a premier opponent. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this record that we have at home. Is it a result of playing down to teams, or is it a result of needing a challenge? Milwaukee coming in on our home floor. We need to get this home record straight because we can't just keep going out on the road and getting dubs. It's going to get challenging out when we have to travel out west. So to get wins on our home floor against Eastern opponents is going to be crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we know it. And I think the Knicks kind of took that personal, the way they was losing these home games. And I think that's something they've really been talking about over the last week or two. It's like we got to protect the home floor. Your home court is where it should be, easy for you to play basketball. It shouldn't even be that hard to play with your home fans there. The energy, your home cooking, your home sleeping in your own bed, and all that good stuff that goes with being home. You know what I mean? And for them, maybe they might be too comfortable at home. I don't know what the case may be. I hope that's not the case, but we definitely can't be losing games in the Garden. We under 500 at Madison Square Garden. I think that's unacceptable. But it's early, like I said. Let's hope that they can turn that thing around because that's a big part of us doing what we want to do this year. Just play good at home, protect the home court. We 5-1 on the road. That's unbelievable. 5-1 on the road and 2-3 at the Garden. And normally that would be the opposite, where we 5-1 at home and 2-3 on the road. But they road warriors right now. But we definitely got to protect that Garden, man. And go in there and make sure that our defense, which is the Knicks' security system, like I always say, our defense is our security system. You can't let nobody come in that world most famous arena, break in your house and steal your stuff. You got to protect that at all costs, CT. And I think if we can protect the Garden, get back to protect the home court, I think it bodes well going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And think about it. We've beaten Philly twice now. If we were to beat Milwaukee twice, that's a great leg up. Like we said earlier about the Eastern Conference standings and the landscape of where things sit. And of course, we'll touch on later as to what lies ahead after this matchup. But just touching on this Milwaukee preview, I think with Nerlens Noel, Mitchell Robinson both questionable, let's hope that one of them can at least suit up. Otherwise, it's a lot of pressure on the other guys. To me, what I saw was probably looking like Mitchell Robinson. I'm gonna go out there and say Mitchell Robinson will most likely play. I think Nerlens Noel might be the more questionable one with the knee sprain. What are your thoughts on what you saw with their injuries? Mitchell with the hip flexor and Noel with the knee.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think we might see Mitch tomorrow. He might have a couple of days to rest the hip flexor, and maybe sit Noel, let him sit down, let him rest tomorrow to get that knee together, man. Because we need him for the long run, not the short run. We need these guys for the long run. So if they got to sit out games now, sit them out. That's what it's about. You want to be strong and healthy and in better condition and in better shape, and at a team going toward the end of the season when you start to really get on your grind. And once we get ready to hit the Christmas season, and after that the schedule gets daunting, even before that actually. But the schedule gets daunting. We're gonna have playing some real good quality teams. They good that we beat quality teams already, so they don't concern me too much. But now we're gonna be testing the waters up with some really, really good teams. You know what I mean? And we got to see what we stack up against these guys. But so far, so good. And we just got to make sure that one of them centers is able to play tomorrow night. If Mitchell Robinson could play tomorrow night, then that'd be well. Then Todd back him up. You know what I mean? And if you need Jericho for some reason, then you bring him in there. But whoever's up there tomorrow, man, we just got to go bring our A game and play defense. And like I said, just try to make it hard on him, man. Giannis gonna do Giannis. That's why he's a former MVP, and NBA champion MVP, because that's just who he is. He's the third leader scorer in the league, 27 a game. The man can play basketball. So we just got to go in there and make it hard on him, and just try to slow down everybody else. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be important that we play some good defense tomorrow, CT, because I think that's the way we're going to come out of that Garden tomorrow is playing good defense for sure.
Yeah, there's been far too many inconsistencies with performances, like you said, on the defensive end. We'll talk about the stats coming up in the next segment about the New York Knicks' offense and where we sit, how exactly what our upgrades, in the offseason, we knew offensively we'd get better. But defensively, the question mark for me was always how much would we either regress or stay the same. We have seen some regression, there's no doubt about that. What I want to see is a bit more consistency in not letting guys go off for career highs like we've seen with Ricky Rubio, we're seeing with Jared Allen, we're seeing with the list goes on and on. We've got to take these matchups personally. Like you said, I don't want Giannis coming in giving us no career high tomorrow.
Right.
We need to make that statement.
Yeah. I'm hoping after that Ricky Rubio debacle for the Knicks that they learned off that. They learned off it and realized that you can't let nobody do that to you. You know what I mean? And then you got to salute Ricky Rubio. He was knocking them down, but we can't have that though. You know what I mean? Like you said, we got to do what we've been doing to get some of these better players. He's not even one of the top dogs, and so they might have took him for granted, and let the man run amok on us. You know what I mean? We can't have that. You know what I mean? We got to make sure that the New York City Gritty Committee defense is first and foremost what we do when we step on that floor. From that opening tip, soon they offense grab that ball, y'all cats lock in. We got to play 48 minutes, man. We can't have no minutes off. Because there's some talented people out here, man. And even in Philly yesterday, I think Philly was minus they two guys, and we had a night up 19 or something like that, and they came back because the NBA is a game of runs. Just because you had a hot first half, I mean, you're gonna have a hot second half. That because you had a poor second half, don't mean you're going to have a poor second half. Usually, the team don't play well in the first half. They kind of want to find a way to go in the locker room, get rejuvenated, dot their I's and cross their T's, and get on their P's and Q's and come back out here and perform. And I think that's where we had to realize that when we got somebody up, man, you got to keep them up. Down, excuse me. When we got somebody down, I apologize for that. When you got a team down, you got to find a way to keep them down. It's hard because teams make runs, but we got to go in tomorrow and let's hope that we can get out there on our defense principles and listen to Coach Tibbs' game plan and try to execute, man. If we can execute, and I think we walk out of there with a W again, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's all about just the consistency, like we said, on the defensive end. But I think Tibbs is still evaluating. He's letting things play out in the first 10, 15, 20 games, whatever, before he sees where this club's at defensively too. I think with some adjustments, we can't just we don't have the defensive sort of personnel that we did last season. So I'd like to see us change things up a little bit and try and trap, every now and then, every couple of possessions. We know Kemba Walker's not a strong defender on the perimeter, so throwing the trap once in a while, throw them off their game, instead of just playing everyone straight up. Like we know Evan Fournier can get beat, Kemba Walker get beat off the dribble, just something to pick guys up full court, a couple possessions, make it a little bit more challenging, change things up. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. We have to pull out all the tricks of the trade. Because it makes sense that, like I said, with our team not being the same team as last year defensively so far, anyway, in the season, we know Kemba is not overpaid. We know Fournier is not Reggie Bullock. And them guys were on-ball defenders. They was pretty gritty. It was pretty tough. And they didn't let guys get to them too much. So we got to have a team effort, a collective thing. Defense is a team effort. So everybody got to be able to pick each other up. But I do love to see that I want to see Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier just stay in front of their man the best you can. Stay in front of them till you can't stay in front of them no more. And then hopefully we have Noel and Mitch there to help relieve some of the burden of you letting them guys get by you every now and then. It happens. Nobody's that sharp, and so we got to hope that we play a good collective effort on defense. Everybody locking into the defense principles that's being taught to them by the coaches, and going in and get that thing tomorrow. We got to go in there and put our defense down because we third in the association of scoring offense. That's not the problem. We scoring pretty good in the offense, but we 22nd in association in defense, and that's not a New York Knicks team. That's not a Tibbs team. We normally up in the top 10 in defense, at least as of last year. When Tibbs took over, we became a pretty good defensive ball club. So we got to just make some adjustments, man, and hope Fournier and Kemba Walker and RJ and Randall and them coming in locked in tomorrow. You already kind of got a taste of these guys, so you know what you can do against them. You know that they premier and dominant players, Giannis. So you just got the game plan for him, and watch guys like Grayson Allen, and guys like that, and DiCenzo and all that, Bobby Portis, and we got to watch them guys. But your main focus should be on Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they can get him in a slowdown game. But I mean to slow down the stats. Like he might not, if he can go for 20 instead of 27 or 22 instead of 27. Them 5 points might make a difference at the end of the game. So we got to, bring our hard hats, our lunch pails, get down into it, man, and just show what the New York Gritty committee is about, man, and try to get that W tomorrow.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself. It's going to have a big impact on the next couple games. So that was the Milwaukee preview. I'm expecting it to be a really close game, Divine. Obviously, I think the New York Knicks have what it takes to get the win again.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to come in here with a point to prove. Obviously they didn't want to lose that game at home to us. And what they always say when it's short, it was recent on the mind. The motivation's even there, even more to come into Madison Square Garden and put on a show. They saw, the whole world saw Ricky Rubio put on a show a couple of days ago. So Milwaukee's going to be no different. But I'm expecting us to pull out a win. I'm going to say probably 5 points. Again, what's your thoughts on the prediction?
I'm a lean a little bit towards maybe, 115, 114. I mean, we scoring the ball pretty well. Like I said, we third in the association at 111. That's a good defensive team, but I do think playing at home sometimes can give you a little edge. You know what I mean? We haven't been having that edge lately, but I do think the crowd, the fans, the bright lights. Like I said, it's your home gym. You pretty much know how them rims. You know how them rims bounce anyway. You know what I mean? You know how the ball bounces on them rims. You know how the angles. That's your home court. You know what I mean? You should, and I know they've mastered their home court. They're getting to master it. So I do think that we might have a efficient game tomorrow offensively, and if our defense can hold us down, then I'm going to say 115, 103, 115, 103. I would predict that, and I think that could be achievable. But we definitely got to bring our defense to the forefront because, like I said, they got some good shooters in Milwaukee. Grayson Allen, them guys, Bobby Porter, they can hit the three. But we defended them pretty well the last game from the 3-point line. And they got a couple of guys that come off the bench that can knock down the three pretty good. So we just got to all around just play a good game, man. And I think we can come out there with a W tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope. Now, you wanted to talk on some stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's go over the stats for the Knicks, and we go over there with them. This is the Knicks stats for the team this year: 21-22 season, 11 games. 48.9 minutes played. They're averaging 111.7 points per game, which is third in the association. They're 7-4, 6.36 win percentage. Field goals made 40%. Field goals attempted 89.2. Our field goal percentage, is 45%. 3 points made 13.9. 3 points attempted is 38.1. We 36% from the 3-point line. We want to get that up close to 40 like we was last year, at least 39. Foul text made 16.9. Foul text attempted 22. That's pretty good. Foul tech percentage 76. We want to get that up to the 80s. We need to at least get that to the at least 80%. Offense rebounded 10, defense rebounded 35. We rebounded 46 a game, was not bad. 22 assists, 13 turnovers. We want to get that down to maybe like 11 if we as possible. We stealing the ball pretty well, blocking shots pretty well, and so I think we're +4 on the season. I think that's pretty good. But I think what we really got to get together is that home and court record. We 6 on the road, 5 at home, 2-3 at the Garden, 5-1 on the road. We got to flip that, man. But I'm glad we all went on the road. That tells me that we going to hostile environments. And we still playing good basketball. We not getting down because we're not home. But we definitely need to clean that up. I really do believe that's going to be important going forward. And if we could pull that, clean that up, CT, and I think we got a good situation going on in New York right now. And I just think we just got to work on a couple of things. And I think the team will be fine.
Yeah, I love the fact that we're ahead of schedule to where we were last season. Right, We all know a team can turn the corner at any point in the season. We can never forget about that 9-game winning streak in the later part of last season, and just how pivotal that was to catapult us. I can't say enough about how important it is to stay above 500 right now, because it's basically giving us a head start. Giving us a head start. We can beat Milwaukee and be 8-4. That's perfect. We haven't even figured things out, but we've been implementing new pieces. We've struggled in some games defensively. To be 8-4 possibly is huge. I've no doubt we got better. We're going to get better and better. We're going to get better defensively. We're going to get better offensively. There's no way we've peaked yet, right? That's impossible. We cannot have peaked yet. So with that said, I love that offensive stat. They're third in the league. These upgrades have made a difference, right? To be third in the league in points divine. To me, that's significant. That means we can just focus on the other end, clean that thing up.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% on that one, CT. And another thing that's pretty interesting about that as well, and then we get into Milwaukee Bucks, they stats and everything. But Milwaukee Bucks is 17 points per game. They stay 17th in the association at 107. Rebound points per game, they're 11th at 46. So we right there with them on that one. We right around there with assists that as well. And so the offense points per game, 19th. They down there where we at. So where we used to be at. Excuse me. But now we third in scoring. We in the top 5 and 3 points made. We only 9 3-pointers off the top of which is let me get that right. It's Golden State and which one scoring more 3-pointers. Other than that, we right there. So we just got to keep doing what we doing. Shoot the 3-point ball good. Take the good shots. Don't worry about trying to shoot bad shots. So far, so good this year. I haven't seen us force up a lot of threes that wasn't good shots. You might have a couple here and there, but for the most part, I think it's like 90-10 to me. We've been shooting the 3-ball real good, quality 3-point shots. Some of them we just not knocking down. And I think once these guys get their feet under them, man, and they start knocking these things down, I think we will be back up at that 39% hopefully by the season ending, which will bode well for us. But Milwaukee, like they said, they played 11 games, 48 minutes a game. They averaged 107. We score more than them. They 5-6, one game under 500, but they depleted as well. Brook Lopez, they're in a protocol situation with Kevin Middleton, I meant to say. So Chris Middleton, they win percentage of 455, 39% field goals made out of 90 attempts. They shooting 43%, so we shooting a better field goal percentage than they are. 3 points, they're 13 made, 40 attempts, they shooting 33%. So we beat them there as well. Foul text made 15 out of 20, 74%. They kind of got us there. They offense rebounded pretty good. Defense rebound, they right around where we at on the rebounding numbers, so we pretty much mirror this team in a lot of ways when it comes to a lot of stats. So we just got to, the best man win tomorrow. But Milwaukee's a good team, and they got the reigning MVP there, man. So you can't take them guys lightly, regardless of who they have there. We just got to go out there and play our game, and I think if we do that, then we still be able to compete with this team and hopefully come out of Madison Square Garden with a victory tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, it's a great test of where this club's at right now. To be able to say we knocked off Philly and Milwaukee, within weeks twice, it's going to be huge. Huge for this team. Even for the front office, they're evaluating. Tom Thibodeau, Divine is evaluating to think this squad might be ahead of schedule to where they think they may have been at this point, especially approaching the future deadlines and trying to work out where the East is playing out. We'll talk about where the standings are at in the East coming up, but there are a lot of teams underachieving right now. Divine, Milwaukee Bucks is one of them. They've come out the gate real slow, bit of a hangover from the championship. Giannis had to put in a great performance today just to get over the line. Obviously, they're missing Chris Middleton. He'll be out again. We need to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. They start in front court. Like Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton is important to what that team do. And not having them guys around obviously is a big blow to them. From the offensive standpoint, especially. Chris Middleton, man, after the championship performance he had in the playoffs in that championship series, and he was really doing his thing. He could have easily been an MVP over Giannis, but Giannis, he just took them boys and did what they had to do and dropped 50 in a couple of games. I mean, salute to him, but they missing some key pieces. So we missing some key pieces as well, possible without Mitchell Robinson as well. They not them too, but what they do for our team is they key pieces. They're important to the way we play basketball. So let's hope that we can, survive this and come out victorious tomorrow. And I think if we do this and play our A game, we sit in the 8-4 in the Eastern Conference after 12 games when everybody had not even hit their stride yet. Injuries came coming out of the gate and, things of that nature. And we still able to perform at a decent level. So I do think we will get better. It's just that practice make perfection. So the more you practice, the better you get at it. And during the NBA season, you can't get a lot of practice because the games come so rapidly. One night after the next is another game. One night after the next, so you never really get a chance to practice during the regular season. And that's why people need to understand coming out the gate where you're going to go through this, because you don't have time to fine tune a lot of things when the season is in progress. Because every night you run home, you're traveling, or you're home and you got to go to this or that. You're trying to get your body right, get your recovery time in. So it's hard to get that practice in when you're trying to recover and get ready for the next game. So hopefully we can get this thing going and let the chips fall where they may, and I think we will.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for a game where everybody clicks. Divine. If you think about it, we have yet to see a game where everyone just has it going to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
People have been in slump either, or someone's been missing. I think when I spoke on about peaking before, I think this club's got a lot way to go. And yet we could see a night like we did against Orlando in the second game of the season, where every shot was just falling. All it takes is a couple performances like that, and we can beat anybody. Like we've seen, I don't fear any opponent, even if Milwaukee's full strength. This is on our home floor. We should be going into every matchup like we can win.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be a tell of what it really is, because now we got the schedule coming up. We're going to get into the schedule thing, and our next 10 games are going to be pretty crucial for us. So the schedule is daunting. And we got to go get it. If you look at it, what we got up there, we got Milwaukee tomorrow. Then we go down here to Charlotte on in my neck of the woods. We come down here to Charlotte on Friday. Then we got the good thing about it, we don't play the next game until the 15th, that Monday. So we got the weekend off. And that bodes well for the Knicks, because now you get to rest our players, you get to rest Kemba Walker, and then we get ready Monday for Indiana. Then we home. We got 3 home games coming up, man, against some very winnable games. You think about this here, CT. If we beat Milwaukee and we can beat Charlotte, we could win them next 3. And I think that's what they got to look at. You got a chance to go 5-0 in the next 3 games. The next 5 games, you got a chance to go 5-0. Not taking an opponent lightly. Not saying that we're gonna beat these guys, but they definitely winnable. The Charlotte one gonna be the big test, because they coming off that West Coast trip. They've been balling out there, in the West Coast. So I know they'll be home. Looking for some home cooking for Charlotte. So, but we got to go down there and try to steal that game. And I will be in the building. The Knicks Real Talk, Streets of Buzz, and the Real Buzz will be in the building. We be us live, casting from there, and I'm trying to get them break it down and all that good stuff, and talk about the game. And then we come home, man. We home for 3 games. Indiana's winnable. We can't let Orlando come in and do what they did the last time, and Houston Rockets. Good young talented team, but I don't think they where they need to be. So we got to get a chance to do that, man. CT, and then you got Chicago away. The Los Angeles Lakers are be here on the 23rd, and then we got home again against the Phoenix Suns. Then next thing you know, we got to go down to Atlanta. So we really got to take advantage of this schedule, man. And I think we could do that, because, like you said, you look at what's coming up: Lakers, Suns, Atlanta, the Nets. Man, Chicago and Denver. So that we got to really hold this home court down and get this defense ready. And this next 10 games, I would love to see 7-3. We can pull up a 7-3 in these next 10 games. That'll bode well for the New York Knicks basketball team.
Yeah, facts. You broke it down perfectly, Divine. Yeah, everyone, look at the importance, the significance of the next stretch coming up. Like I said, a couple winnable games in there, but then all of a sudden it gets pretty challenging. You got the Bulls, Lakers, Suns, Hawks, Nets, Bulls again, and you got a road trip. Don't want to look too far ahead. With that said, Divine, I think it is a challenging part of the season coming up, and it's really important we continue, or at least show signs of improvement on the defensive end, because that's what's going to win us some games. Our offense is where it needs to be, but I think defensively, some of these teams are just going to continue to light us up if we don't do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And I think after that Philly game, you won the game, but your defense kept them under 100. But they got a good defense too down in Philly. So Giannis got a good defense. We got to go in there tomorrow and bring our A game there. We need to bring our A game on the defense then from here on out, man. Because we really want to be what we want to be as a team. Our defense got to help carry this team. Everybody in the league will score the ball. We got good scoring teams all over the place. But what separates us and separates a lot of teams from the other teams is their defense. Milwaukee won that thing last year because of defense. You know what I mean? And they played stellar defense in the playoffs. Giannis played well. Drew Holiday played phenomenal. You know, and so them guys played some good defense, and that's what they just got them to where they was at, man. So we just got to hope that we could do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll touch on the standings shortly, but let's touch on some NBA, wider NBA. It's been a crazy season so far. We're only 11 games in. Divine, where do we start?
Man, you know what? I'll tell you right now, for me, what's interesting is where the NBA is going with a lot of situations out there. It's pretty tough out there right now with the COVID thing. You look at the protocol. A lot of guys are going into the protocol thing like that, and it's pretty tough for the NBA right now, to be honest with you. And if you look at the news around the league, it's pretty tough. It really is. Look at the game last night against Denver and Miami. The game suspended for Jokic. Marquise Morris got fined $50,000 for their altercation. Denver, they depleted too. Now he goes set off one game. You missing Michael Porter Jr. They're missing Jamal Murray. So they gonna be on in a tough situation. Then you look at the Nets. Obviously, Kyrie Irving haven't got back yet. That's pretty tough. And it's just that they just gotta hold this thing down, man, and keep the NBA going. It's a great season. The NBA is really at a high level right now, and we just got to make sure everybody's staying focused. You got a lot of good teams out there, and they fight, they scrapping, and some of them at the bottom won't be there for long. Believe me, they will. The cream rises to the top. So the Bulls is playing well. Washington Wizards is surprising. Cleveland Cavaliers is surprising. A lot of surprising teams in there, man. And, so we just got to stay in the fold. But the NBA is right now is, other than the COVID thing, CT, a lot of players taken out. I just hope that thing get resolved. You don't got a lot of injuries in the league right now. You got injured players, but not a lot. So let's hope this thing keep going and we have a great NBA season. But so far, so good. The NBA is having a good season so far. A lot of parity. A lot of teams that it's like they don't really nobody who's separating themselves. The Golden State Warriors is playing phenomenal. You can say them. The Jazz is playing good, but Golden State, Steph Curry right now, them boys is playing lighting it up down there. 9-1, they're playing good basketball, man. So this is fun season right now. We just got to make sure these guys get back healthy and limit the injuries and hope that this COVID thing don't run amok and cause guys to miss games and to kind of take the flair out of the NBA this year.
Yeah, exactly. I'm loving it so far. Every season has a mind of its own. We saw last season there's a surprise every year. We know the Phoenix Suns made the NBA Finals. The Atlanta Hawks made the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm looking forward to what it's going to be this season. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be the surprise? The door could fly wide open with an injury, with a superstar on the rise. Washington, Cleveland's on the up. Some teams, and most notably, we'll talk about in the standings shortly, that are on the slide. I did a show before the season started about some teams that would rise and some teams that would slide. But I certainly didn't expect some of the ones we're seeing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is. I the ones. Let's talk with the slide. If you throw the standards up there, we talk about the ones who slide. Man, you look at some of these guys. Like, who would have thought the Hawks would be 4-8, the Pacers 4-7, Celtics 4-6, Hornets 5-7, Bucks 5-6. You know what I mean? You would have never thought that. But who would have thought that the Wizards going to be where they at? You know what I mean? The Cleveland Cavaliers going to be where they at. So it's interesting season. But I think that all the maneuvering and juggling going to start taking place. Pretty soon you're going to see a lot of juggling and maneuvering now. A lot of teams that's at the bottom probably wind up raising up to the top. And then, like I said, you look at the Western Conference. Warriors 9-1, Jazz 8-3. That's all predicted. But even I didn't think Mavericks would be 7-3. Suns 6-3, Grizzlies 6-4. They playing pretty good basketball, even though they're only 2 games over 500. John Moran is electrifying this year. This man is really, really doing his thing in the NBA this year. Like I said, I just spoke about the Nuggets situation with Jokic is being suspended. Michael Porter Jr. just signed that big deal, but he's having issues, and Jamal Murray not back yet. but they still 2 games over 500. Clippers trying to tread water to hopefully Kawhi Leonard get back. Lakers will get it together. I think by the end of the season, they're going to be where they're going to be at. And the Blazers is interesting to me, CT. That's a team that I'm really wondering what's going to happen with that situation. Are they good enough to compete? If not, what happens when the trading deadline comes? Even if it's not Damian Lillard, anybody for that matter. It's interesting to see what the Trailblazers going to do. Kings is on the rise. They got a good young team down there. I like what they're doing down there, and everybody else is pretty much where they're going to be at. The Thunder, they know what they're doing. And Timberwolves going to be interesting. We're going to see how the Karl Anthony Towns thing play out for the rest of the year. But the Spurs and Rockets, they are who they are down there. So I think a lot of the team that's in the top is pretty much there. And we just got to see how it pans out going forward through the rest of the season.
Yeah, facts, right? The Lakers, I didn't expect them to start out this slow. But shouts out to Carmelo Anthony that's keeping them afloat right now. They are an older team, so it makes sense they're pacing themselves, Divine.
Mm-hmm.
But good point about Minnesota, about the Blazers. What normally happens, Divine, after 20, 25 games, the teams that are out of playoff or don't look like they'll make the playoffs, it starts to become pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? They start to turn their attention on the trade deadline or the next season, the future. What are they going to do? Are they going to offload the disgruntled star? Are they going to tank for picks? All of that, the men get separated from the boys, basically.
Absolutely. That's what it's the NBA. No boys allowed, for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right, though. That's what's going to happen. Going around after the Christmas time, going into, the New Year's, you're going to see what they made of. And if a lot of your teams, if you don't if you don't get back in this thing before the All-Star break, sometimes it's hard to get back into it. You know what I mean? Because everybody else now the ones up top trying to stay there. You know what I mean? So they're not trying to lose no games. And so you trying to catch guys who are in front of you that's not trying to lose no games. So a lot of teams that's down at the bottom of the total pole, they got to get it together. If they don't get it together, they're gonna find themselves like, wow, you know what I mean? Because the East got better, the West is who the West is, and that's what's interesting in the East. See, teams like Atlanta and Boston, y'all can't take this stuff for granted because look who got better. Cleveland got better. The Wizards is surprising. So a lot of them. Chicago got better, obviously. You know what I mean? So you might find yourself out there wheeling and dealing at the trade. Let's say if Indiana don't make too much of a progress and getting better and winning games, and then next thing you know, they're like, okay, we're not going to do this. We're going to have to kind of clean house maybe. I don't think they're running back the same thing next year. You're going to run that team back with 3 coaches. Nate McMillan. I can't pronounce the man's name who was there, for them last year, who took over for Nate McMillan. I saw it with a B. I can't, Borjan, something like that. I might be pronouncing it wrong. Borjan, something like that. And now you got, obviously, Rick Carlisle. So that team is going on 3 coaches in 3 years. You know what I mean? So Indiana could be a hot mess. You know what I mean? And then not only that, when there was hearing the buzz about Ben Simmons, what did going on in the back of the mind of the point guard they got there in Caris LeVert when they were talking about Ben Simmons. So it's interesting. Then speaking of Ben Simmons, the Sixers situation, how are they going to hold up if Ben Simmons don't come back and knowing you're not 100% sure Joel Embiid going to be able to maintain the whole year. So that's an interesting team as well. So the NBA is going to be very interesting. But like you said, if you're down at that bottom, you better try to get your way up out of there, because if not, you might get stuck there.
Yeah, we all knew there's some teams that are improved, right? So you get left behind, like you said, Atlanta Hawks. I'm really curious to see what happens in the next week or two. To be 4-8, a couple more losses. That's a deep hole, Divine. That's a hole to come back from. I mean, not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. They probably will definitely come back and have a winning record or 500 record. But this is a team that had aspirations to go. They shouldn't be 4-8. They should be looking at. They were talking about 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 1st seed. To be that far down, and you got all these people on top of you, like Chicago, Washington, New York Knicks. You got
Mhm.
Boston to overcome. I mean, they better get it together real fast, or that narrative that the Knicks weren't better than the Hawks, that narrative was way off.
Yep, absolutely. And, like everybody was saying, CT, like they said they just struck lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? Now we're gonna see. You know what I mean? That run through there because you just caught Philly at a bad time. The Atlanta was one of them teams that nobody was expecting to be who they were, and they had a good enough defense. Their defense was really got them through that thing. So they got them through the playoffs. They ran up against teams like Philly and them, and they matched us, Philly, and then when they ran into the creme de la creme, they just couldn't beat them. But I think now you're going to really see what they made of. You will see what they made of. You know what I mean? Because I don't think they getting back to an Eastern Conference Final. I think that was, to me, was, like I said, lightning struck in a bottle, and they just happened to get through that thing. But we'll see how it goes moving forward. But we just, before the Knicks, man, we just got to keep playing, man, keep playing, keep grinding. Bring that New York City gritty committee defense there, that toughness, that attitude. Get back to the basics. Get back to what made us the New York Knicks last year, 41-21, fourth in the Eastern Conference, the first playoff berth in years, and let Julius Randle do what he do, man. The man been here three years, and he already got going to 2 playoffs possible. So you got to salute that. I think a lot of people sometimes get on Julius Randle about the little bonehead, not hustles, but man, that young man, he's one of the guys that brought us to the playoffs when him and Tom Thibodeau, when we haven't been here since 2013, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13. So, I hope Julius Randle's starting to hit his stride. It seems like quickly he's coming around. RJ's being RJ, having a great year for him, and so just hope these guys, Fournier and Kemba Walker and all these guys, get the rhythm. I love what Obi is bringing this year, man. I would love to see him get more minutes down there because he's really playing good basketball for New York. And then sometimes it don't show because of the meek. He don't have the minutes that he should have. But he's playing good. We got Noah Noel back. So let's see, man. Let's see. Mitch can get his. He should have time to get his cardio together and get back. Hopefully the hip thing is not too bad, and then we can get him back on our floor. Because if not, you just never know what happened down the line before the trade deadline with some of these guys. If they're not going to be able to hold it down for us, we need them. You just never know what can happen.
Yeah. Every season has a mind of its own. I'm just glad we're in the position we're in. We haven't played our best basketball by any means, and we've got away with some wins. We've beaten some good teams. We've got a big test coming up, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing how we stack up. I'm confident we're going to be thereabouts. Around we'll miss the play-in. I think we'll definitely make the playoffs. I'm confident of that, but how high remains to be seen. This could be a season where things really open up. Divine trade deadline, a big star becomes available. Maybe the New York Knicks catch a scalp or two.
Right.
Like I said, just about improving on every year. See, I would not be mad if the New York Knicks made the second round and lost, but it's disappointing, but it's an improvement on last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just turn things around overnight. You've got to get better each season. Right, and it'll happen. The New York Knicks got some good young core. We're building something right. We've got the steady infrastructure. Like you said, we've got draft picks up the wazoo. Basically, all these draft picks. That's an undervalued asset. The New York Knicks, people don't really talk about, Divine.
Mm-hmm.
If and when there's a move ready to be made, the New York Knicks are up there with any team in the league that can make a package.
Yeah, absolutely. They put themselves in a good position, man. Salute to the front office and the Knicks organization. Put themselves in a very good position, man. To be able to wheel and deal and possible steal a good player. You know what I mean? And I really do believe that. I think, like I said, certain guys I'm keeping an eye on, and because I'm looking at their situation and look at their team play, and a lot of things that's going on. There's a couple of guys out there. I'm wondering, well, do they really want to be in this situation? I know we can get into that down the line. But we just got to keep our eyes open, our ears to the ground, man. And but first and foremost, just take care of business on the basketball court. Go out there, play Knicks basketball. And we want more, and we over 500. You know what I mean? But we know we haven't played our best. You know what I mean? We let some key games get away, and we won some games that could have went the other way. But that's just the nature of the business. You know what I mean? But you got to take it one game at a time. One possession at a time, and just hope that we ready to do this thing, man. I really think this is a big important stretch coming up the next 10 games. I would love to see the Knicks go 7-3 in these next 10 games. And then so when we do hit that rough part of the schedule, not only that we got a good record wise, we may take a couple of L's that won't kill us as much, but then our guys got a little bit more continuity. They got the chemistry, the camaraderie together. They kind of starting to see each other tendencies over the next 10 games. You know, this is a big one, the big next 10 game stretch. Let's hopefully we can go in there and be over 500. You know, I wanted, like I said, I want 7-3, man. That'll put us in a good spot if we can capitalize off that. But I do think we got a good chance to go in these next 5 games, and it starts tomorrow. If we can win that Milwaukee game, then I think we got a good shot to have a pretty good week coming up.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. The next couple, Milwaukee, and then Charlotte, and then a couple easier ones. So let's take advantage of that. You know, I'm really looking forward to chopping it up with you, Divine. You're going to be in the building Friday night in Charlotte. We're going to be bringing you some great content that night. We're going to be streaming pre-game, post-game, you know, as well as post-game versus the Milwaukee matchup as well. I'm just really looking forward to continue to break this team down, you know, and bring you, you know, more good content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Well, it's been a great show, CT, and we're going to get up out of here in a few. You guys make sure y'all the streets above the Knicks Real Talk. You know, this is a new show, the Real Buzz. So y'all just check us out, man. Like and subscribe to the channels. We're going to try to bring out this Knick content, you know, more than ever. You know what I mean? As the season go along. But you know, just look for us, man. We out there. Like I said, the streets above the Knicks Real Talk, the Real Buzz, man. Y'all have a good night, man. And we see y'all on the next one. Appreciate it.